Hey, I'm Jay Kumar, the BassBlaster, and this is your Seafoam and Kistler top 5 of the week in bass fishing. Number 1.
Why didn't I think of that?
Now, I know we all have that feeling when we see something and we feel that way. Not every day, because they're rare deals. And my 2 cents is that Aqua View's new The Captain is one of them. To me, it was the number 1 cool thing I saw at ICAST. I'll explain why in a sec, but first a reminder that Aqua View is the folks that have those underwater cameras that a lot of pros do use, especially in smallmouth tournaments. Because in those events, just a quarter-pound more average matters big time. And they also use Aqua View to identify what they're really seeing on forward-facing sonar, like are those really bass or what are they? Anyhow, out of nowhere, Aqua View announced this new The Captain deal. And like every bass fisherman on the planet, at first I was skeptical. But when I got the lowdown on it at their ICAST booth, I was like,
I see.
So basically, this is like a dash cam, like on a vehicle that you would mount on your bow and on your stern, with a waterproof phone-sized touchscreen that you mount to your dash area. Here's Aqua View owner Colt Ringer talking about it.
It's a multi-function display, weatherproof, waterproof, all sealed. Comes with 2 cameras, a built-in GPS puck, and mounting hardware. So what some neat features of this are, if you've got a broken speedometer or something with a GPS puck, now you've got speed. One of the biggest key features of this is being able to have a rear-facing and a forward-facing camera with a built-in DVR. So record everything out on the water. With all the boating accidents, just want to record catches, that's the option. But another great feature of this product here that we just launched is the ability to connect to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So now I can keep my phone out of the sun, out of the rain, out of the wet environment, and have kind of a command center, full access to a lot of the compatible apps.
Now, very cool, and to me, they just solved that issue of having that NASA setup on bows and improve boating safety in general. Plus, it addresses potential liability issues for tournament organizations and the he said, she said stuff in boating accidents, just like a dash cam does in car accidents. And I gotta imagine it makes putting a boat on a trailer or a bass boat on a trailer much easier if someone is new to that. Man, it sounds like a legit no-brainer to me. It's gonna retail for about $699, and it sounds like it's pretty easy to self-install even. You can also use The Captain on ATVs, snow sleds, you name it. And if this deal is solid over time, and of course they tested it, I 100% believe it's gonna be everywhere. It should be available next month.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Yeah, we're ready, Captain. Number 2. I know we all feel this way about our tackle.
Left pocket full of pink fizzies, right pocket got blues in it.
All right, but what that kid didn't have, and you probably don't either, are fuzz baits. But that's fixing to change here in a little bit, because that was the number 1 trend at ICAST, fuzz baits. The major American bait companies who are at ICAST alone introduced 9 new fuzz baits, or fuzzy baits. And we already had the Strike King tumbleweed from earlier in the year, so that's 10 new fuzzy baits from American companies total so far, and I've heard about even more. And just a quick reminder that every company in the fishing business is not at ICAST. Anyhow, like them or hate them, the fish bite fuzzy baits. Major tournaments have been won on them, and there's been a bunch of top finishers who've used them as well. Now, the reasons these companies came out with these fuzzy baits is, number 1, their pro staff wants to fish them. Number 2, the Japanese versions are expensive and can be hard to find. And number 3, it's a fun new category of baits that fits the trend of more finesse that we've seen over the last couple years. Now, one fuzz bait I've got to call out is the Yamamoto Fuzzy Senko, because it's a new version of what probably is the number 1 bass bait or bass bait shape of all time. Now, here's a little on it from MLF Bass Pro Tour Pro Matt Becker.
The 5-inch Senko
but now it's available in a fuzzy version. So we added some silicone skirt to the Senko, same heavy weight of material, so you can sink it down, get it to where you need to be. It skips well and gives them that fuzzy profile, places they've never seen it before.
No doubt. And I also got to shout out a fuzzy version of another one of the bass catchingest baits of all time, the Z-Man Fuzzy TRD. Now you know that's going to be a fish catcher too, and it actually looks the most similar to the homemade baits the pros were fishing last year. As far as why bass eat these things, all I can say is
It's tricky. It's tricky, 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 huh?
yes it is. Number 3.
Can't have it both ways.
Man, this is bass fishing. We can have it
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
exactly, but how the fish want it is the question. And if you look at ICAST, the fish are saying they want it smaller and bigger.
Ain't no surprise.
Now, it's really not a surprise since finesse and bigger baits, swim baits, glide baits were also a trend at last year's ICAST. But this year, there was even smaller finesse baits for bass and a lot more swim baits or glide baits. Now, on the ultra finesse side, case in point is Great Lakes Finesse, which, as their name shows, they are all about that game. But this year, Great Lakes Finesse main man Dan Miguel introduced what he calls the Micro Series. And some of those baits are under 2 inches. That's crappie land, man. Now, he designed these baits for fishing clear water pressured smallmouths. But of course, they'll catch largemouths and spotted bass too. And that really is the reason for the Finessier stuff, pressure. Sonar pressure, fishing pressure. Most places the fish are just more skittish and harder to catch. Now, Dan is a tournament fisherman, and he says he starts his tournament days with these tiny baits now because he says they get him more bites and he loses fewer fish because of that single hook. Case in point, him and his tournament partner just won a pretty serious tournament on the St. Lawrence River / Lake Ontario doing it. Now, a few more companies who are at ICAST like Rapala and Netbait, they also have some smaller 2-inch area size offerings coming out this fall. Now, going the other way are swim baits, big hard swim baits, notably glide baits. With Strike King rolling out their Hogfather Jr. at ICAST, that now means every major bait company has some sort of big glide bait or other swim bait. Also, 2 swim bait or mostly swim bait companies were at ICAST, I believe, for the first time. One was G-Rat, which now has a Steve Kennedy, a Bassmaster Elite Pro bait that he helped design. And Minnesota's Throwback Baits was there, which has a new mass-produced swim bait called the Wake Walker LT. So now you know we can have... Heck yeah, man! Number 4. All right, what do a frog and a reel have in common?
Not a darn thing.
Well, you're wrong there, man, because there are 2 more of my top 5 items from ICAST.
Oh, well, that explains it.
Okay, first up is this deal, the FishLab Rattle Toad Pro Frog. Toad Frog.
Toad.
Frog.
Toad, frog.
All right, it's called a toad, but it's a frog. And the reason it was one of the coolest things I saw at ICAST is because of this. Nice blurry photo, Jay. Anyhow, that thing on its rear is, of course, a rattle. And rather than listening to me talk about it, here's FishLab's Bill Seamantel, who designed it.
The biggest thing is for years is everybody had a hard time. They wanted to create a lot of sound with the frog to draw fish up out of the tules or out of rat grass and you name it. When you put a rattle inside the body, you have zero collapsion. It takes away from your hookup ratio. So what we did, it took a couple years, but we figured out how to put an external rattle, half moon shape, so no matter how you wiggle or move this, you got super loud rattles coming out that's directly in the water, so you have greater distance to call these fish. We welded the hooks, so the hooks are now soldered together and doesn't come apart, so now you have a stronger connection point from the fish to your rod tip. We use floating PVC tails, so now there's less drag in the water. This bait is going to be able to pivot off of that rattle in place. You're going to be able to walk this easier and in place than most other frogs.
Pretty cool. The only thing I'll add here is that I had a chance to fish it in the little pond there, and Bill showed me that if you have a bunch of slack and you barely throw it at that frog, for whatever reason, that thing can swing back and forth, barely moving forward, even past 180. Crazy. Okay, the second deal, the reel, is the new KastKing MGTI Elite Reel. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first production reel ever to come standard with a titanium spool and shaft. Now, titanium spools have been an aftermarket deal for years, but I don't think they'll ever come standard in a production reel, at least in the United States. KastKing put one of the spools in my hand, and it literally was so light, it felt like it was made out of plastic. Now, I got a chance to make a few casts with it in the pond there, and it was real nice. It's a smooth operator. Number 5, plastic bags, blister packs, clamshells.
That's old school, man.
Okay, it's not old school, it's still typical bait packaging and all good, but wait till you see this. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never much noticed bait packaging unless it's real hard to get a bait out of a package. Then I'm mad at it. But when I saw this, I was like, whoa. Before I show you what I mean, the quick background is a guy named Andrew Gardner, who is an award-winning swim bait carver and fish decoy carver, partnered up with the folks at American Bait Works to launch a new swim bait brand called Sync, S-Y-N-C-H Fishing. Now, I'm not big into the swim bait scene by any means, but I am aware that some of these handmade baits come in some very cool packaging, or you could call it a box. But to my knowledge, this is about 10 levels up. Now check this out, we're gonna speed up the video a little.
You have your first sleeve, which is a certificate of authenticity. Each color comes with a different patch. And then you have the bait. It's got these beautiful BKK trebles on it with the gunmetal finish. Glass eyes that are UV, so they have a subtle UV glow.
How amazing is that? I posted it on social and it got over 1 million views and some remarkably ignorant comments, I guess as you'd expect. I mean, I don't know about you, but I truly appreciate the amount of thought and effort needed to just come up with that, let alone nail the execution of it. It even caught this guy's eye.
Most impressive.
Is that Luke's father?
No, I am your father.
Anyhow, congrats on Andrew and American Bait Works on a really cool launch. All right, that's all I got for you this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Seafoam and Kistler Rods. See you next week. God bless you.